Well, hey, everybody. Hey, Jenna. Thanks for joining today. Again, my name is Ashley. I am going over how to pass your NASM CPT and happy you guys joined. So our schedule with Show Up Fitness is awesome. We have a way for you to pass our NASM CPT very quickly. Each day of the week, you can join in on these calls. Usually I do it at 1 p.m. Pacific time, but we had a bit of a schedule change today. So thank you, Chris, for your flexibility on that. Chris usually does Tuesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Jorge does the Spanish call at 11 a.m. on Wednesday. Megan does 4 p.m. on Thursdays. And then Travis, he is really knowledgeable on anatomy. He does his NASM call at 1 p.m. on Fridays. So there's always a way for people to plug in. And you know, these daily calls can really help you pass within 30 days. And so we talk about this all the time. If you have gotten one of the big bundles and you can get a refund within that 30-day period, do it, because we have the resources that you need without having to read 800 plus pages of a textbook in order to pass this exam. And a lot of people that I talk to will say, well, I really want to know all of the information in there because that's going to make me qualified. And what we find is that's not actually the case. You need to be able to give your clients really good customer service, no programming, be able to know all of the things that, you know, they're telling you and apply it to anatomy on the body and knowing where these muscles are. And so you don't necessarily walk away with that from reading an 800-page textbook. You need to be qualified. And so I've been so blessed to partner with Show Up Fitness in this company, because not only do they help you get certified, which many gyms will require you to do that in order to get hired, but we help you become qualified. And so if you're plugging in and watching the recording, it might sound like a broken record, but that's why we're here. We're here to help you guys pass. You know, a lot of gyms like Equinox and Lifetime, and even if you are looking at owning your own company, you want to be able to walk into there and be able to get to work quickly. So we're happy to help you do that. So there's also additional resources on Facebook. I actually run the Women's NASM Study Group on Facebook. Let me know if you want to be a part of that. You can message me on Facebook or on Instagram at the.ashley.garcia. And then I also offer one-on-one coaching. But if you really want to get plugged into Show Up Fitness, I do have a discount code for that. It's Ashley25. And we can send you the link to get set up with that, not only to get your CPT, but to help you plug into the Show Up Fitness internship, which will help you become a certified and qualified trainer. So I see you on here, Jenna. Thank you so much for joining. Is there anything in particular that you would like to go over today? I know last week we went over a little bit about the acute variables of the OPT model. We started to get into some key terms, maybe some quiz examples of questions you might see on the test, but is there anything in particular that you might want to go over today?
I'm pretty much good with going over any of it. I was going through the study guide today and kind of struggling with the ATP PC system, all those parts, and also trying to remember the other area of the study guide, just like the chapters that are not as important, that have all these details about like the heart and the hormones. Just if you had any tricks on how to memorize like catabolic hormones, anabolic, those types of little.
So you in your mind getting hung up on those particular things, I think your brain is basically telling you it's not that important. Those are some of the things that you might find one or maybe 2 questions about
Yeah.
being able to recognize like what the function of ATP is, I think will help you.
Mhm.
You
Okay.
know, how much time it takes to regenerate in the system, you know, might be something that you would see. But other than that, like I would not worry too much about it. Just be able to know that if you see it, it has to do with, I mean, like, for example, like when you see ATP, PC, like explain to me what is tripping you up specifically. Is it like examples of, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's maybe the examples, the little details like, okay, now they're in the oxidative state. Now they're, you know, I think I get like the general idea, but then when it comes down to like a test question where you would really have to hone in on it, I guess my understanding is not very good. And same thing with the hormones. But I know that's not going to be a big part of it. It's just when I was going through it, I can't get it to stick at all.
Yeah. Well, and an example of a question on this would be like, what type of energy system would a 100-meter sprinter use? And you might see answer A be ATP PC, answer B glycolysis, answer C oxidative, and then D ventilatory threshold 1, which is VT1. And so what would the correct answer be?
I think it's the ATP, but I only know that from like looking at the study guide earlier.
Yeah.
Is it just because it's such a short, fast sprint that you wouldn't go into the next phase? Is that why?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, energy systems just in general, like ATP PC is 10 to 15 seconds. And you'll find that in a strength and power trainer. So you can think of like a weightlifter where the intensity is high, but the time is low. And so glycolysis, for example, that would be more like medium speed. So slower than ATP PC, but still like relatively rapid. With glycolysis, you might see like 30 to 60 seconds. You'll find that happening with HIIT training. Do you know what HIIT training stands for?
High intensity interval training.
Right. So sprint workouts would be another one for glycolysis. And then the oxidative system is low intensity, more moderate, marathon runners, right? Can sustain the body like indefinitely in that state. So ATP PC is going to be the fastest energy system that you'll find. And so just like being able to look at that. Do you feel like you have visual examples of this, or are you just like reading it through in the textbook?
For this part of the study guide, I don't think I have like a really solid visual. When you're describing it, I'm picturing it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just, I think I was focused on, there are a lot of parts to the study guide. And today going through, I was like, yeah, this isn't really sticking at all. So it's just helpful to go over it.
I found it really helpful to read through the definition, read it in the book, write it out, look at the visual. And then what was really helpful was watching the Show Up Fitness YouTube videos on this kind of stuff, because then I was reinforcing all of those different ways of seeing it and learning it and absorbing it. And so that might be helpful to you.
Yeah, I was starting to search for Show Up Fitness videos about this today, just to get it more solid.
Yeah. And, in the study guide itself, Chris has talked about bioenergetics happening in chapter 8. You might
Mhm.
have 1 to 3 questions total on that. It's something that you might not even have to read, just maybe like looking at some of the words to flashcard from
Mhm.
that chapter. So
Yeah.
I found the questions that were in that part of the study guide really helpful because it just gave me an idea of like where to place those terms. But again, they're not going to hit you over the head probably with that on the exam. You may or may not see it on there at all.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. What else did you say? You said the ATPPC, like energy systems. And again, that's chapter
Yeah.
8.
And the differences between the hormones. eh, yeah, like catabolic, anabolic. And I know this is like a minuscule detail,
Mhm.
but just if there were tricks to remember, like the catabolic versus anabolic, because anabolic, those hormones like build, right? Like and then catabolic break things down.
Yeah, I can, to be honest with you, I haven't gone over those very much because I personally, we don't necessarily see those very much, but we can get some more, like I can get some more clarification on that specifically. I can ask Chris.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, anything that you think is more important, like going to be a bigger part of the test.
Mhm.
You're the expert. I'm getting hung up on weird things.
No, you're doing great. How are you feeling this week about the OPT model?
It is better than last week. Sometimes I feel really solid on it, and then other times I need to look things up again. So kind of in that medium place.
Would you like to go over maybe some questions that you might see and just kind of see like where you're at?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So I remember flashcarding a lot of the acute variables. Anytime I would see like the programming in the back of the book, it was very confusing. It wasn't necessarily consistent as well. So I found flashcarding these things really, really helpful. But seeing the acute variables in the terms of what you might see on the test was very helpful. So for example, you might see a question that says, like, which of the following would be an example of a phase 2 superset? Would it be A, bench press to medicine ball chest pass, B, a lat pull down to medicine ball soccer throw, C, bench press to push up, or D, single leg squat to like a BB squat?
Would it be C?
Yep, bench press to push up. That's right. So you might see something like, what is the proper order of the OPT model? Is it A, stabilization, endurance, muscular development, strength, endurance, power, and then maximal strength? Would it be stabilization, endurance, strength, endurance, muscular development, maximal strength, and then power?
That one?
Yep. Yeah, you got it. So, some of them could be like really in depth, or some of them could be as simple as like listing them out in order.
Yeah.
Another one might be, what is an example of a plyometric strength exercise? Squat jump with stabilization, multiplanar jump with stabilization, tuck jump, or ice skaters.
So you said which of those is an example of strength endurance?
Plyometric strength.
Plyometric strength. Okay. Can you say the first two again?
Squat jump with stabilization, multiplanar jump with stabilization, tuck jump, or ice skaters.
Is it B?
So you would think, because of the multiplanar with stabilization, but it's actually tuck jump.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What are the most fundamental components of an integrated training program? Is it equipment? Is it reps? Is it rest intervals, or would it be acute variables?
Acute variables.
Yeah, you got it. Let's see. How about which of the following is considered a core power exercise? Would it be cable rotation, floor bridge, medicine ball soccer throw, or reverse crunch?
Medicine ball soccer throw.
Yeah, you got it. The next one might be something to do with plyometric training sessions again. So the general recommendation is to wait at least 1 day between intense plyometric training sessions. How long should you wait when implementing plyometric drills for beginners? Would it be a week, 4 to 5 days, 96 hours, or 48 to 72 hours?
48 to 72.
Yep. Girl, you're like busting these out without hesitation. When is your test?
I scheduled it for May, so I kind of was hoping maybe I could do it like beginning of, I don't know, maybe another week or two instead. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see. Here in a few minutes, we'll do some overactive, underactive stuff, but let's get through a few more of these, and then I would agree with you.
Okay.
All right. So as a general rule, recovery times of blank between reactive drills should be sufficient for full recovery, but this is dictated by the client's fitness level. So would the recovery time be 3 to 5 seconds, 30 seconds, 20 to 40 seconds, or 60 to 120 seconds?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure.
I'm not sure I fully.
So it says, as a general rule, recovery times of fill in the blank between reactive drills should be sufficient for full recovery, but it depends on the client's fitness level. So what would that recovery time be? Would it be 3 to 5 seconds, 30 seconds, 20 to 40 seconds, or 60 to 120 seconds?
60 to 120 seconds.
Yep. Yeah, you got it. During the integrated performance paradigm, what is the correct phase after the amortization phase? Would it be eccentric, isometric, isokinetic, or concentric?
Concentric.
Yeah, you got it. If your client performs 3 sets of 6 reps, what is their total volume for that exercise? Would it be 3? Would it be 6, 18, or 2?
18.
Yep. What SAQ drill would be best to pairing with the youth population? Would it be A, stand up to figure 8, B, hurdle step overs, C, hit, or D, red light, green light?
Red light, green light.
That's right. Bravo.
Thank you.
Okay, your client performs a bench press into medicine ball chest throws. What intensity should it be performed at? Would it be A, 50 to 70%, B, less than 10% body weight, C, 20 to 35%, or D, 75 to 85%?
I mean, the medicine ball should be 10% of body weight.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And what phase is that in the OPT model?
Power.
Very good. Yeah. So you'll see questions like that where they might give you multiple things that you would need to know in order to answer quickly. So you would need to know, the intensity of that particular phase in the OPT model, but they might not come out and say what phase that is. They might just give the exercise itself. And so you'd have to know multiple parts of that, which you did, which is great.
Okay.
A trainer has his client performing step-up balance curl to press. What tempo should the client be performing? Would it be A, the 3-2-1-0, B, 2-0-2-0, C, XXXX, which would be explosive, or D, 4-2-1-1?
I would say because it's stabilization 4-2-1-1.
That's right. Yeah, you got it. Have you been studying?
Oh, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So,
Good job. Good job. Okay. So I mean, we could seriously go over examples all day long, but I would love to go over some overactive, underactive stuff with you.
Okay.
And maybe even some like movement patterns too. Do you feel pretty confident about those?
No, that was another note that I made to myself to look over more.
Yeah. We will go over some of those for you. Okay, so do you know what the movement patterns are? Can you name them out for me?
Movement patterns, like, so I'm blanking, but are you talking about like a hinge?
Yep. So you have a hinge pattern.
Like hinge, maybe I can't come up with another one, like a squat.
Yes, yep, squat pattern. What is an example of like your chest and your triceps being utilized in exercises? Like what exercises would you use to activate like your chest and your triceps?
Like a chest fly, a push up. So a push up would be one, right?
Right. So
like a press.
Yeah.
Movement pattern. Pushing pattern. Yeah. Pushing pattern, pulling pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so, yeah, you mentioned squat, you mentioned hinge, push, pull, and then there's one more. Think overhead.
Like a overhead. Overhead. What is that called? Press. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And so what muscles are engaged during the squat pattern?
Your glutes and your quads are the main ones. And your agonist is the hamstrings.
Yeah. And so what muscles are engaged for the hinge pattern?
Hinge pattern, the glutes again. And instead of the quads, do the hamstrings take over more at the top?
Yeah, like the hamstring complex. Yep.
Yeah.
And so what about the pulling pattern, the muscles that are engaged?
Posterior delts. The lat.
The lats, yep.
And tricep.
Your trapezoids.
Trapezoids, okay.
Your biceps.
Rhomboids, biceps, yeah.
And so do you know what the actions are for a pulling pattern?
I don't think so.
NASM won't go too deep into this, but it's retraction and extension.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And then the pushing pattern, we talked about this already. The muscles being engaged are your chest and your triceps. So what are the actions for the pushing pattern?
Like if you're starting with it at your chest, pushing it away. So it's like flexion into extension.
Yep. And then protraction.
And then protraction, yeah.
Flexion and protraction.
Good.
So I think you just being able to pull out, squat pattern, hinge pattern, pulling pattern, pushing pattern,
faster.
Yeah, you'll be in good shape because based on your answers today, the material. Like you're being able to answer pretty quickly, so that's good.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Do you know the names of the distortion syndromes for muscular balance and imbalances?
There's lower crossed, upper crossed, and pes planus.
Yep. And what are the overactive muscles that you would see for lower crossed?
Erector spinae, the hamstrings, like the adductors would be like kind of pulling you forward. Glutes would be underactive. I think you're I don't know. I'm kind of starting to blank a little bit.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
So the lower crossed syndrome, your low back, so the lumbar extensors would be
the lumbar. Okay.
The
lumbar extensors, yeah. Overactive. Sorry.
No, you're good. And then your hip flexors would be overactive as well. You got gluteus maximus and medius for underactive, so well done. Hamstrings and then the abdominals. Okay. Do you know what LPHC stands for?
The lumbar pelvic hip complex.
Yep. And what muscles would they be talking about if they said short and tight?
The overactive.
Yep. And what would you do to those muscles?
You would stretch and foam roll.
Yep. For how many seconds?
For 30 seconds.
And let's say that you saw some knee valgus and you are looking from the anterior view, which would be what view?
The front view.
And you saw that there were some lengthening and weak muscles going on. Which ones would those be for knees caving in?
The VMO would be the main one, and the glutes.
Yep, the gluteus maximus and medius, and then the anterior and posterior tibialis.
Tibialis, right? Yeah.
And where on the body is tibialis?
The shin.
And so what muscle group is always the stabilizers?
For the lower body.
For the upper body.
For the upper body, the rotator cuff.
Rotator cuff, yeah. Good. And then let's say that, and then this will be the last one for the day. Let's say that you saw arms falling forward and you were watching from the lateral viewpoint. Which view would that be?
This from the side.
Side, yep. And then you saw some muscles that were very short and tight. What would those muscles be? If the arms are falling forward.
The latissimus dorsi.
Yep.
And maybe the like upper trapezius, like those types of muscles would be.
So take your arms like this and then lower them a little bit. What do you feel happening on your body when that's like, what is really tight when you do that? And maybe mine are super tight because I worked out today. I'm really sore.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you feel?
I definitely feel my pectoralis major.
Okay, that's what I was guessing, but I didn't feel anything.
And I definitely feel my posterior shoulder muscle, which would be
the posterior delt.
The teres major.
Oh, teres major. Okay.
It's like we're going a little bit further.
Okay.
Yeah, good. So I would just flashcard those and know where they are on the body. If you know where they are in the body, you'll be able to pull them up rather quickly in your mind of what's happening during that particular situation. What I did is on table 6.1 in the book, I went in with my pencil and I wrote exactly where they were all over the body. And then I would flashcard them until I just like was sick with the information.
Yeah.
And that was really helpful. So,
okay, I'll do that.
I think you're getting very close.
Okay.
You're getting very, very close. And I think you should feel really good because you are starting to pull up the answers rather quickly. And it's almost like I can't see you, but I can see what's happening I can hear it. And I see you working through it as you figure out each part of the question, which that's how you may see them on the test.
Okay.
Just knowing like where they are, what the function is, what you do to those muscles, what they look like on a client, how you're going to help them work through that particular situation. With Show Up Fitness, most of the time is you cue the imbalance and you get better just by strengthening, over time. With some pretty straightforward programming. With NASM, you got to put your NASM hat on and they take you through stabilization for whatever period of time that they say, which, it's not how I would train, but you got to put your NASM hat on to pass the test. So you're doing good.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. You can message me anytime, like I said, through Facebook or Instagram. I'm going to continue to utilize the women's NASM Facebook group. Of course, it's open to anybody that would like to study with us. And then again, if you ever want like the one-on-one coaching, let us know. I also have that code in case you want to look into the Show Up Fitness internship. It's really generous what you get through that. So as Chris would say, keep showing up. The whole platform is very useful for reinforcing what you're going to want to take with you from NASM after you pass. So all right, well, we'll see you next time and let us know if you need anything.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.